Sorry, I was sharing this out as many places as I could before we started. Hey, everybody! Happy Sunday!
Hey. It's
How's
weird
everybody
being kind of big
doing?
screen.
Yeah.
I need to try to share this to my other page, but I don't know how to.
Just copy the link maybe and paste it on it. There's the comments. Let's see who's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey,
And oh my gosh,
everyone.
there's one of those dang YouTube.
It came up like quick.
It did. Hey, Greg. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Natalie. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Bridget. How's everybody? Welcome to Hey Boo. Jackie's sick, so she couldn't make it. Hey, Gabe. But we might show the stuff that she was wanting to talk about anyway. She was wanting to talk about, hey, Joanne. She
Hey,
was
Joanne.
wanting to talk about Myrtle's plantation. It's in is it New Orleans? Where's
It's,
that?
it's not New Orleans, but it is in Louisiana.
Okay. And so we will probably show some photos and stuff about that. And these ladies have a lot of photos they sent me and some locations that they picked out to talk about. And I had a place that might not be like literally historical, but it's old and it does have history. Hey, Chrissy. And I'm going to look up one other place that I've been to that I know has to have some kind of paranormal history because I have studied when I went there the paranormal history of like oracles, like the Oracle of Delphi and the Minotaur and the Centaur and the Temple of Athena and Zeus. So I'm pretty sure that there has to be some kind of crazy, weird stuff to talk about from there. How's Debbie and everybody else? So I am going to go ahead and let Miss Eileen go first.
Oh, what great fun. What great fun. I did mine on the Decent House, which is located in Jones County here in Mississippi. It's in Ellisville. They no longer open it up for paranormal, but and normally they still do like historical tours of the house through the Daughters of the American Revolution chapters down there. But right now that's even closed due to COVID. I was trying to get some more pictures, and that's when I found out they were closed currently. So hopefully, because everybody knows these historical locations rely so much on people showing up to keep them going.
Yeah.
But
Courtney.
if you have seen the movie The Free State of Jones with Matthew McConaughey in it, I'm about to say a lot of people realize what it is when you mention Matthew McConaughey. But that is it is loosely based on well, not it's less loosely, but still loosely based on events that did happen out in
Hey,
Jones
Howard.
County and in Ellisville. The Decent Home was built in 1845 by Amos Deason. It was him and his wife. They had 10 kids, 3 of which were born in the house. The house still looks very similar to the way it did back in the 1800s. Of course, there's been some modifications because it was lived in. The Deasons were very, very wealthy people. It's a very unique front, almost like an octagon, like part of an octagon shape when you're walking through the front doors, when you walk up to the stairs. Of course, if a lot of you go to historical homes, especially in the 1800s, you'll notice there's no closets, things like that, because extra rooms were taxed on and closets were considered a room if when everybody had to pay up on their taxes. But anyway, so Amos Deason was a supporter of the Civil War, and Newt was got a soldier, Newt Knight, and he didn't believe in the war or anything like that, and he became a deserter. But especially when he found out that if you owned like 20 or more slaves, you did not have to join the war. So he thought it was a rich man's war, poor man's fight. So him and a bunch of deserters, they were all around Jones County, hiding and doing these things because they were not going to fight. Well, Major Amos McLemore was sent to come and find Newt Knight. Amos McLemore really did know Jones County just as well as Newt Knight did. So Newt Knight knew that McLemore was probably going to find him. So one day on October 5th, 1863, Newt Knight, if you watch the movie, the ending happens in a church. So if you do want to watch the movie and don't want to know the ending, you might not want to listen. But it actually happened inside this home instead of inside of a church. So what happened on October 5th, 1863, Newt Knight knew that he had to kill Major McLemore to stop him from looking. So he the way the house is set up, there was one room in there that has a fireplace. Newt Knight slammed open or busted open the door, shot Amos. I cannot talk today. Amos McLemore in front of the fireplace because he was sitting there trying to stay warm. October was cold, so he was warming up. Shot him dead on the right there. Now he didn't shoot him dead, but he shot him and he ended up dying several hours later. But that's where his blood stains still to this day is on the floorboards of the house. The family that, the Deasons, they cleaned up the blood as much as they could. It has seeped through the wood. Finally,
Oh wow.
years later, they decided they just kind of put something over the blood. Then they've also replaced the wood, but you can still see, they've got pictures where you can still see the blood stains on the beams underneath the house because it's more of like a beamed house because it's sitting up. So basically the only people who have ever owned this home was the Deasons. Then they sold it to the Anderson family when Miss Deason died in 1888. And then years later, the Anderson family donated it to the Daughters of the American Revolution to become a historical home and all. I've been to this location several times to do an investigation. One day I remember I was there. There's what we call the long room, which has got a dining room table in it. They looked behind some of the wallpaper when they got it, and there was still what they feel was some blood stains on the walls. What they feel had happened was this room is really long, and hence the name Long Room. And
That's neat looking.
oh yeah, I love the house.
Isn't it amazing? You just get drawn in.
They feel that room actually became like a Civil War surgical room. Well, right on the other side, and you'll see where windows are kind of weird in the house, which I don't have I couldn't find any of my inside photos because things were built on, because again, you didn't have a lot of interior wasted space because you were taxed by that. Well, right on the other side of the long room, there's a window you can see. And I was with Southern Paranormal, and I grabbed Doyle, who is no longer with us, but I grabbed him. I was like, hey, I need you to walk down this room. Didn't tell him anything about it. So he starts walking down about the same spot I felt something. He says, I feel something here. I said, don't tell me what you feel. I had about 8 people do the same thing. Everyone but one person, that same spot, you got sick to your stomach feeling and you were off kilter in this one exact spot. Well, we were sitting there doing investigation in the long room, trying to do EVPs and all. We had a REM pod sitting in what's called the murder room, which is the room right next door where Amos McLemore was killed. And the REM pod started going off. So we go in there, REM pod quits going off. So we took the FLIR. I said, okay, I'm going to lay down where the blood stain's supposed to be. So I lay down on the ground and I got up, and then all of a sudden you could see my figure, but you could see it slowly going away. And then a couple of hours later, I go back and say, I'm going to do it. I feel the need to do it again. So we did it again. My heat did not go away from the spot. So we go into what they call the birthing room. That's where people gave birth there and all. A lot of activity goes on in there. So it had been about 10 minutes. We go back to look at the spot where I was laying, and there was still a body heat right there, full body heat. So I've never seen body heat. Y'all tell me. I don't know. Last that long. But they say that every October 5th, especially on stormy nights, because it was supposedly a stormy night, that the door to that murder room jerks open every October 5th. That would be the anniversary of the murder. Of course, Newt Knight got away because no one else knew Jones County like Newt Knight did. So he got away and was able to live a long life and all after the war. But yeah, if y'all, when it's ever open, I don't know what all I've missed on telling y'all about it, but if it's ever open and you're going through Jones County, which is right outside Laurel, Mississippi, but Ellisville is a very small town. Stop by. I mean, you don't do ghost hunts anymore, but it is a great place to go look at the tours. You can walk in there and you can feel the difference of the house.
Well, it's absolutely mesmerizing. You just
It
get
is.
drawn
The shape of it.
those pictures.
People get married there. They still open it up for weddings. And actually what's really unique about it is the town almost developed around this house. Literally, right across the street is an elementary school. And right next door is part of the elementary school. So it's like the school kind of goes around this house. And actually, school kids used to say that they used to see people inside the house while they were outside playing at recess or doing whatever. People have heard someone was in period clothing and actually put Miss Deason's dress on. And they heard Miss Deason say, or they think Miss Deason say, "Get out of my dress."
Oh my goodness.
But it's a really, people around here love this location, but it's one of those.
That is my dress.
It's a hidden gem that no one really knows about.
Hey, Donna, Adrian, Courtney. I just think it looks awesome, like the shape of it. Whoever designed the
Yeah,
picture.
it's beautiful.
It's got
Yeah.
a lot of great old architecture to it. If you go to Wikipedia, it tells you about each bit of the structure, that they got some of the structure parts from Mount Vernon. I mean, the guy was, I wish he would have been my granddaddy and left me some money or something. He was pretty good. He had some money.
So is it white? Is the bottom photo like the most recent photo of it?
Yes.
I'm gonna guess.
Yes. And I think
Okay.
the other one with the date is more the stock photo. Like I said, for some reason, I could not put my hands on any of my photos I've got. I've got tons on the inside, but I couldn't find any of them.
Oh, what happened? Oh no.
I don't know what to do.
The house went bye-bye. Was there more photos before that?
I just sent you just a couple. The one with the
Okay.
year and the there was only, I think, 3.
And then that one says
That's just
landmark.
about the home.
1964? Is it 64?
Or 1863
And
is when he died. But yeah, 1845.
Established in 1845. That's a long time ago. Yeah. Well, what is your location, Miss One?
Mine is, I was really hoping it to literally be, but it's a little windy out there. So mine is the birdcage in Tombstone. So, and that's why I'm dressed like this. So yeah, I love the birdcage. And it's the Birdcage Theater. It's located in Tombstone, Arizona. And it is noted, Tombstone is noted to be the town too tough to die, except for when it snows. The whole place closes down. But anyway, Tombstone, the Birdcage opened up in Tombstone in December of 1881, and it closed in 1894. And funny enough, you know how I love wine, so that's great. The Birdcage Theater, we know what it was all the reputation for it was, so I love wine. But then it reopened in 1934 as, guess what? A coffee house. But anyway, That's, and I love coffee. But anyway, so anyway,
That's why you really went there.
yeah, and it's still the most authentic building in Tombstone. And I chose it because I have like a little bit of a personal experience with it. So that's why I kind of like, I love it. For one, it's like the most amazing building in Tombstone. And it has a great history. And it opened up originally in 1881, and it was intended basically for respectable family entertainment and shows. But the economics of Tombstone and the rough mining crowd didn't support that type of entertainment. So therefore, it was changed to inevitably, and then for entertaining what is now the Birdcage is notorious for, which is the the nightlife. So for miners, and ladies of the night kind of stuff. So, but what it's also known for, and that's the theater right there, that's the stage. And and it shows here, like in this one here, this picture here, that's the actual stage. But also what it's known for is the poker game, the longest poker game ever. And it still has the tape. I mean, everything was opened when they opened up the doors in 1880. When they reopened the doors 50 years later, everything was original. So it just they just closed up the doors. So it had the longest poker game in the basement, and that was. Do you have that one there? There's the poker one there.
Oh,
where is it? Boop, 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 boop.
Not that one.
Yeah.
That looks like it's set up for like theatrical purposes for like the
I
show.
should have said it in the actual order I was actually going to talk it in, but didn't talk about.
Oh, that's pretty.
But
That's
okay. So this is
Is that poker room?
Yeah, there it is. Yep, there it is.
There's cards on
That's
it.
the poker game that was in the basement, and it was $1,000 buy-in in the 1880s. That's pretty hefty.
Yeah.
So and it's known for it's famous for the famous players. A few of them that we probably have heard of is George Hurst, Diamond, Jim Brady, Adolphus Bush, and then of course my favorites are Doc Holliday, Bat Masterson, and Wyatt Earp. And in the 8 years it played, this is a constant continuous game. So like, I guess when one person would check out, they'd go get another person. They'd have go get a runner and have it to where another person would have to come in and take their spot. So it was, I didn't think that's how it went, but that's how, apparently that's what I learned. So, and with this game, this longest game, it retained approximately $10 million was exchanged during that time, during that game. And the Birdcage actually retained 10% of that poker table. And the poker table still sits or stands right where it was years ago when it was left. So in 1882, the Birdcage was sold to Mr. Hugh McCrum and John Stout, who hired Mr. Bignon and his wife, Big Minnie. Bignon was a minstrel and a clog dancer. So he and his wife managed it, and Big Minnie, it's I think it was kind of, when you go there, I think they say the owners were Big Minnie, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that's Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp. They were the ones who were really famous for that poker game, and for especially the movie.
That hair and those mustaches. Oh
What
my
how much
gosh.
gel they went through back then?
I know, or wax, mustache
Yeah.
wax.
Yeah,
wax.
and then Big Minnie is that big woman, the big busty woman. I have the picture of 2 pictures
Probably
over.
the next.
Not her.
Not her. Nope.
This one.
The black and white one there. Yeah, that's Big Minnie.
That's a pretty
And so that's
photo.
Big Minnie, and she was 6 foot tall, 230 pounds, according to what I've read online.
She was 6 foot tall back then. That was tall back then, period, let alone for a woman.
Yep. And she used to wear big pink tights, and she used to sing, dance, and play piano. That was her part. But she also ran the brothel there, which never closed. It was 24/7. And then here's the part where for the picture of the Fatima picture, the painting. So this part comes in here because there was 16 gunfights in there recorded at the birdcage,
Painting,
which
you said?
equals about 140 bullet holes in the walls and ceiling. And that's the extra one that is down there. Yeah, there's Fatima right there.
Oh, she's
And
naked.
he has bullet holes and actually knife stabbings in there also in hers. And that has been hanging there since the beginning. And now you go to the other one where there's the curtains and the cages up above.
Okay.
And
That's a pretty one.
yeah, that one. And that's what the rooms are. And they are called the cages. And that's why the birdcage was named the birdcage, because it was named after the 14 cribs that are up there up top. And they're like crib style rooms. And they suspended from the ceiling and hung over the casino and the dance hall. And the cages, men would, rent a cage for $25 a night, and that would get them a bottle of whiskey and a prostitute. So for the night.
How much?
So $25
Oh my gosh.
for a
Wow.
bottle of whiskey and a woman.
Well, heck, they just
Cheap
spent
date.
$1,000 on a poker game.
She's only worth.
And those curtains that you see there are the original. They're still hanging in there. Those are the original red velvet curtains that and drapes that are there. So the entertainment in that building there, from the stage, ranged from French can-can girls to the opera. And some of the most famous cowboys that were there were Wyatt Earp, Johnny Ringo, and Doc Holliday. And they all drank and played cards and had other entertainment up in those lovely little cages, which you'll see in one of the other pictures, one of the cages where, like, supposedly I think that's supposed to be up Wyatt Earp or something, or one of them. Where is it? Where is he?
Is that it?
That one there. That's supposed to be them up there.
Okay.
With their,
But they don't have their hookers with them.
I
know.
Or their wine.
well, you can't
or
see them.
moonshine.
They're laying down already.
So with Wyatt Earp being there and being, running the place basically and the game, he ended up marrying one of the women that actually worked there, and her name was Sarah Josephine Marcus, known as Sadie Jo. And so he ended up marrying her. He had a relationship with her there, and then he ended up marrying her. But she was at the time dating the sheriff of Tombstone, who was not supposedly too thrilled with her being a prostitute and working at the birdcage. But it didn't matter because Wyatt Earp ran off and married her, and his common law wife at the time, Maddie, she ended up becoming a prostitute herself in Prescott, Arizona, and then committed suicide. Probably, I think from correct, she OD'd on laudanum, I think it was, or so. But then disaster basically struck. And when Tombstone's mines flooded, and then this theater was sealed and boarded up. 50 years later, it still remained closed. That is Sadie Jo. That is Wyatt Earp's wife.
She's adorable.
Worked there and ended up being his wife. And she's actually from a pretty prominent family.
Could you imagine any of our spouses, boyfriends, whatever, being okay with us being prostitutes?
No.
But you have to think about it now. I mean, what women didn't own property back then. So what did they have in order to make money? Themselves. Yes,
Maybe
this
you
is
could
what they
like,
had.
you
So
could like shear some sheep or pick some cotton and make some clothes. I don't know, and color them, dye them, and sell them.
yeah, well, apparently, and the thing is that Big Minnie, she ran a good, her place was, reputable, and she, high class, she wasn't one of those, let's just, seedy people. It was, she made sure her girls were dressed properly. She had a code. She made sure they followed it, so she ran a reputable place. And so she was able to charge a lot of money for that, for the evening, for her girls. So, and then there's one last picture, I think, if I'm correct. And
Wagon
that
it?
is of the Black Mariah. And that is the original Boot Hill hearse. And it is and it's still in that building today. It is trimmed in 24 karat gold and sterling silver. And so that is basically, the kind of the details, that I found about the place, and that you go in there and you see it and you learn about the history of it. But I went there on a tour, as a guided tour in the evening, because they do have guided tours there, and there's 26 supposed recorded ghosts or spirits that like to hang out there still. And it's really popular, obviously, for the ghost hunters. I think it was in a few shows on TV. But I went there myself, and as a medium and a psychic, and I also went there with a friend of mine, Greg. We went there at the time to just kind of be tourists and check the place out. And
I'm assuming they have a guided tour.
yeah, it is a guided tour, and while the guide who works there, she's in like one of these things here, and she's got like this headband on, and in the back of her thing, she's her skirt, she's got this big bow. And during the tour, yeah, Josh, that's where I'm getting to right now, is during the tour of the birdcage. We're watching this lady's bow get untied. We're watching her headband get knocked off. So apparently she's not, and I'm getting messages like in my head, like she's not code, like how Big Minnie likes, her girls to look. She wasn't up to, like, I guess, however Big Minnie wanted her girls to dress. She wasn't exactly the way maybe her bow wasn't tied right or something, because she kept untying her bow, and the headband kept coming off. Either that, it was like one of the gentlemen, but I was getting a feeling that it was Big Minnie kind of not happy with the way she was, the way she was dressed. She wasn't in proper uniform. And then we kept hearing women laughing and giggling, and there was nobody outside the building. There was we kept hearing noises and all kinds of laughing, and like we thought people were like outside partying or something, and it wasn't. There was nobody out there. So that was pretty cool. And then I kept getting my hair pulled as we were like going downstairs towards the brothel area, and where the game was, the poker game, the longest poker game being played. I kept getting my hair pulled. And with that, what else was there? Oh, and then there was a little boy that came to play with us. And then also, what else was there? Oh my gosh. I can't remember, but there was like so much activity, so much coming through. But Big Minnie was definitely there. She was the most prominent one. And it's funny enough that I guess when spirit likes you and wants to communicate and finds that you are a conduit, Big Minnie has come through on a spirit box session also. Separate from that, you just kind of focus on her, and she just kind of came through. But she was really active. She liked to communicate there. She was sharing a lot of information with us that night, which I'm not remembering at the moment, darn it. But yeah, it was really good. So this place is authentic. It is definitely, as from my own experience there, this place is definitely authentically haunted. And I totally recommend going there. I remember there was another part to it that when I was little, I think they blocked it because I think maybe it flooded or something. But there used to be another tunnel down there underneath it, so you could kind of like see more exhibits and maybe even more rooms. Maybe, I'm not sure. There was something extra in there. But when I went to go back a second time as an adult, I think they closed it off. There's something different about the place from what I remember, but it is definitely active. And you can feel the energy when you walk in. It's just, the heaviness of the energy, but at the same time you feel lightness. So it's like, it's really neat. And I highly recommend, if you come to Arizona, make a trip to Tombstone and go to the Birdcage. Be the tourist, even if you are one of those people who are like, I'm a professional paranormal investigator, and be a tourist. Do the guided tour. It is worth it. You're going to get activity. You're going to get, interaction. And regardless, you're going to get history, and you're going to see it frozen in time. And that's what I love about the Birdcage. And that's why I did it.
Do you happen to know, in case anybody just wants to know ahead of time, how much they charge for a tour and how much they charge for investigations?
if I am correct and remember, I think this was like when I went, it was like 2, 3 years ago. So you're asking me to remember. Yeah, I don't remember what I ate for breakfast, but I think it's $25 per person.
Okay.
I think either that or that's the fee just to get in for a daytime tour, but I'm not really
Mhm.
sure. So I think 25 seems to be sticking in my head.
Gotcha.
So,
That's
but
not
it's so
too
worth it. And then I
bad.
also recommend there is a hotel on the street, on Allen Street, right across the street. That's where I wanted to go. I was going to try to rent a room there tonight and set up, shop, and set up the camera and everything there. So you
Mhm.
guys can get a real good shot. Like it's right directly across from the birdcage. And you got a balcony view of it. And, I recommend it's the Mercantile Shop and they have rooms up above that you can rent. And I highly recommend that.
Ah,
Right there on Allen Street, you get to look at the birdcage, and and there's a bar, down the road. So
that'd be cool
That's
just
always a
to
good one.
go to the mercantile shop. I'm gonna think that they probably have old mercantile there.
they do, and it's great. It's
That's
it's
awesome. I'm
they've
really
got
like
all
to. I
kinds
would
of
like to
stuff.
look at the
They've got
mercantile.
clothing there, old clothing. They've got old wrought iron stuff. They've got, pipes and everything, canes, like whatever you can think of. And the jewelry there, it's really neat. I love it. I'm addicted to Tombstone.
I wonder.
So
Hey,
yeah.
Eileen, or one of y'all, do y'all care to message Jackie and ask her, or not her, Howard? She's at the emergency room. Ask
Yeah.
Howard if it's okay to show those videos that they sent, even though she's not going to be here. If we can show them on here after I get finished with my location that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm sending them a message now.
Please. That way, I just want to make sure because it's videos that they did an investigation there, and it's their videos.
Well,
I
I
want to
see
make sure.
Gabe's on. I think Gabe
Yeah,
took some of those. Is it
he
okay?
sent them to me, and I think that that was the intent. But I just want to make sure because it's their footage
All right,
that they're okay with that.
Howard's about to reply.
Howard is okay.
Howard's okay. They've got Jackie in the hospital. I mean, in the emergency
He
room,
said
and they
yes.
both, Gabe and Howard, both said yes. You can show the videos.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I'll do my location, and then I will show them Myrtle's plantation footage. It's actually probably more interesting than my stuff. Where? No, I just need to go here. All right. So my location is in Greece. It is the location is where the Oracle of Delphi was. Delphi is the location. It originally was called Pytho, and the temple of Delphi had like a high priestess there that would give readings or like premonitions to people that would come there and see her. As she sat there, she would give these premonitions to people about what she saw, like maybe about their future. So I'm going to bring up some articles about that. I haven't been to the literal Oracle of Delphi, but I did go to Greece and I did go to the temple of Athena and Zeus. I didn't get to make it to Delphi because it was on like the other side. I don't remember if it was the other side of Athens or the other side of Crete Island where I was staying at, but it was far away and I was having to share a rental car with all the people I was working with. And I wasn't in charge of it because I wasn't the senior petty officer there. So I didn't have say so and I wasn't in charge of where we went. We did go to some cool places though. Why was the Oracle of Delphi so important to ancient Greeks? I was glad I stumbled upon this. I saw this. Oracle of Delphi was one of the most powerful religious intuitions in ancient Greece. I think they mean like the intuitives. Read on for why the Oracle of Apollo at Delphi held such importance. So there's some really neat, lush photos, old photos, and I've got some more that I'll share. These are like paintings or tapestries. I can't really tell. It might just be a drawing and painting. It says red figure bell crater depicting Orestes visiting Delphi. So there were more than one oracle. I'm going to get rid of this advertisement. That was probably one of the oracles that told the future because in a lot of photos and paintings, you'll see 3 oracles at Delphi. Like the paintings, you'll see 3 people, like 3 women or multiple women. And sometimes they were perched upon there was a crevice there that released some kinds of gas, and sometimes it was debunked as that gas made them have hallucinations, and that's how they got their visions and their intuitions about what they told people. I don't believe that. I think that they actually, I don't know, I feel like that they would have had some kind of weird convulsion or something if that was going on. Um, this isn't exactly what I wanted to put on here, but it says, like, in the Greek religion, divination took many forms from the study of sacrificial entrails to the interpretation of the flight of birds. So, like, they thought, everything in nature was an omen, everything in nature was a sign of some kind for you to see of something that was to be or was to happen. This intermediary was known. Perhaps the most important form of divination was the practice of consultation of a god through an intermediary. Being a medium, like the Oracle of Delphi, named Pythia, or a couple of the others that it mentioned. Oh, what is the other one? Her name started with an O. Um, and this intermediary, or otherwise known as basically like a medium, was known as an oracle.
Now, Rosie, are you like pulling up articles or anything? Because there's no articles pulling up. I didn't
Oh,
know.
it's not showing up?
No. It's just your messenger.
Yeah, that's what I was
Ooh.
like. I thought maybe
Yeah, the oracle's on
I
it.
was like, okay.
I could hear
That's
all of a sudden. I could hear
funny.
the tapping on the computer. I was like, "Wait, she's scrolling."
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I thought if I shared the screen and I changed screens that I didn't have to give it permission every time I changed the screen. But this is a URL and it's not an actual photo. So this is what I was showing. There's this tapestry up here and it shows a depiction of Delphi. And this was like some kind of, I don't know, cauldron type thing where the oracle stood at. People came to her to get their future or past lives, regressions, intuitive messages, visions that she had about them. And it says one of them was named Orestes, which I'm going to guess is this lady. But the high priestess of Delphi was named Pythia. And she was over the temple of Apollo at Delphi. So that's an interesting photo. And this is where it was saying, like, mediums, intermediaries is what it calls them. We're an oracle, which was like basically like a conduit or a medium. Now, what we call a conduit or a medium or a vessel. The Oracle of Delphi has fascinated civilians as both an institution and a concept across the millennia. There are a plethora of ancient sources which refer to the oracle from the 5th century BC poet Pindar to the 2nd century AD geographer Pausanias. Delphi has also captivated later artists and writers. And this is the place that you would actually go to visit. And I really wanted to go there, and I studied it in the library there while I was there. But this is not one of the locations I got to actually go to, which
That
stinks.
is beautiful.
I would like to go back there someday. And they do have a temple of the Minotaur, which is the bull-headed man with standing on two legs. And then they also have the Centaur, which I didn't ever look at anything from that. I wanted to go to this one in the Minotaur, and that's the two I didn't get to go to. But I went to the Temple of Zeus and the Temple of Athena, and they were just amazing things to be able to see. And they were under construction. They'd been under construction for a really long time. This is the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. So Delphi is this big area, and this is one of the temples there. What they would do is build these temples up in the hills and the mountainside. Most of this that you see, I know you can't see my finger, but most of that you see up there is lava rock. Behind there, it's not like a mountain, it's a lava rock. Yeah. This is like lava rock. And most of the mythology that they have there, when you go on the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and you see all of these hills and mountains and things sticking out and these caves and stuff, they are explained as they were gods and goddesses. And like you'll see one and it'll look like someone that's bent over or leaning like this, and they'll say like it was this god with this name or this goddess with this name, and that they're resting there after some big event happened, that is actually a god or a goddess that is coming up and protruding out of the water. Really neat. Like they're really into mythology and gods and goddesses and oracle stuff. And like when you go there, it's really neat because when you go there, everything their market and their economy is not like ours. So like you can get something that you would pay 3 times more for here, and for like a third of the price you can get it there. And it's all
Mhm.
authentic. They have all of these different alleyways that you go, and they make homemade rugs and homemade leather works, like homemade purses and homemade sandals, the ones that strap around your legs like the gladiator sandals,
Mhm.
and like all kinds of stuff there everywhere. And it's just neat to go talk to the people there because they're all so nice. They're just really just trying to like survive and be friends with the American or other people, not just Americans. There are people from Turkey that came there, and parts of the UK and England and other places that came there as a tourist uh, vacation. Here's some more photos of the last Oracle of Delphi. It's one of the temples there. It's not the same one that I showed you. This is a different one. And like uh, all of the buildings, like there's so many buildings that are up in the hills there made out of this. You'll see random churches that no one uses anymore that are high up, so high that you would never dream of hiking there. And they're way up there. And apparently, obviously, people used to go there, but they're just abandoned and they're still there. And they look sturdy as they probably were when they were built. There's several other ones. Here's one, the Oracle of Apollo, and it just looks like something out of a movie. Um, like everything's made out of, I don't remember if it was granite, I want to say marble or granite. And I took a couple pieces of it, even though you weren't supposed to, and brought them home with me.
Now, again, are you showing anything or just talking
Yeah,
about it?
because you're talking about it, but I'm not seeing anything. I'm
Nothing's
just looking
popped
at us.
up.
Here, I have to screen share a different website. Yeah, every time. Sorry, guys, bear with me.
I about to say that's why we give it to you to screen share because none of us can do it or is brave enough to do
There we
it.
go. That is what I was showing
We
you.
were joking the other day about I don't know if I want to screen share. There might be some stuff you don't want to see.
It's funny. Yeah, not really in mine. I mean, I'm pretty private, but I don't have anything crazy that people's going to see. That's the Oracle of Apollo, temple of, I guess, the Temple of Apollo. Apollo was one of the, either one of the Titans or one of the gods from the original beginning of Greece. And this says it's in Crete. I don't know if you can see here. Crete, Greece. That's where I stayed at,
Hmm.
which is Crete Island. It's an island off of the mainland Athens. Like you get on a plane at Athens and you go to Crete Island. I'm like scared. You can't see what I'm looking at here. There's another photo. This one's my favorite, I think. I'm going to share this one because I'm going to have to change what I'm sharing. Okay. Let's see there.
I keep laughing. My husband's watching the football games on. And so I keep hearing my husband yelling in the background.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't hear him. This is, I think, it says this is the crevice I was talking about where the gases leaked and the oracle sat, the original first oracle, and these people came in these robes and they're bringing gifts to her to offer for her insight and her intuition and her visions and her prophecies, I guess you'd say.
There it is. So that's the pictures that you've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah, do you see it?
Yes, I can see that one.
Yeah, she's sitting on that crevice that was supposedly, a lot of people said it was a hoax and she wasn't really an oracle and that she was just inhaling and hallucinating these gases that were coming out of that crevice. But it's pretty neat. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on if you ever look up the Oracle of Delphi. Delphi is the actual place. So you'll find all of these other different oracles or mediums or intermediaries, I guess is what they called it, that prophesized, if that's a word, prophesized there. I have one more photo and then I'm going to show some videos
Well,
from.
nowadays, even if it isn't a word, anything you say becomes a word. So there we go.
So I thought formed it into existence. Right.
That's it.
This is another photo of one of the oracles sitting, and I guess someone's sacrificing, which was this was part of the belief in the religion and the practice then. Pythia, this is the original high priestess. She's the high priestess that was there at the temple of Apollo at Delphi. And she's sitting up on her, I guess I don't know, it's not really a throne, but it's kind of a throne. Her pedestal. She's on a pedestal. And maybe this is where the idea of men putting a woman on a pedestal came from. And I don't want anyone sacrificing any dead animals to me.
Well, if it's your time to go, it's your time to go,
Huh?
Oh.
I'll take the flowers.
People,
I'll take the flowers.
If
If they want to bring me some jewels, but I don't really want a lamb or a sheep. And they do have a lot of sheep there. If you ever go to Greece,
Chocolate and jewelry, that's the way to my heart.
yeah, that would be better.
that
And
flower.
flowers. He's like holding some kind of flower or some kind of plant, long stem thing that he's offering
I
her
love
to.
filet mignon with it, like really rare, but like the grill marks, like so you get that like grilled flavored. And
I
really
make
just
every
says
Valentine's Day. I make filet
Lycurgus.
mignon.
1840 painting, oil on canvas, and his name is Lycurgus. He's consulting with Pythia, and these are his gifts to receive her gifts. He's exchanging gifts with her. So I don't really know what was in these, but I'm pretty sure it was olive oil. These urns here, olive oil, or it was a rice wine called raki, or ouzo, or some kind of wine or something. So that is my place, and that is some of the history behind it. And now I'm going to show some of the videos that Jackie and Gabe sent me.
Jason, he's going to be the Oracle of Oklahoma.
That's funny. Wonder what he's going to have. What kind of messages? Bigfoot.
Yes,
Native
he
American
mentioned Bigfoot.
messages. Native American messages and Bigfoot.
He said, like, because the comment went up too far. Oh, and he keeps going on. It's still like I'd actually like have to read. Jason, I like pictures. He's like, I'll be the Oracle of Oklahoma. We will all drink Bud Light and wear camouflage in the woods while chilling with Bigfoot and the aliens with peace and harmony. Yay.
I might not be able to do this. So I got to sign up in Google from Dropbox. Sorry, I wasn't expecting this. All right. So one of the videos is of a shirt getting yanked on in this room that they were staying in at Myrtle's Plantation. There's a closet that Howard and Gabe both had experiences in. There are orbs in the closet there.
I'm not seeing the pictures.
Yeah, the picture haven't come up. But while you're getting them, Christopher Quarantino asked, it's his first time here. He wants to know how we all met. Well, we all met there's actually one other one of us. She's just out to date Jackie. And Crystal is out kind of running the network right now. But as far as all of us and Jackie, we all met in Salina, Kansas. I can never say that name. At the Masonic Temple during Fear Fest is how we all met. And then, of course, a little later on, about a month or so later, Hey Boo was created. So
go to the light and touch the light.
So you'll see some orbs here in the corner. They'll be over here, and when he see that one that just went up, and another one right there, and another one.
Let's see how many colors we can get from the light.
That's Howard.
There's another one, and another one, and another orb. Yeah. And I felt like there were some kids right here.
Something's touching my hand.
By this truck. I felt like there's a little boy there by the truck playing with it.
Gabe, something's touching my right hand.
Let's see. We only have a few minutes left. I think there's a show after this one. I don't know.
Come on, roll the ball. Let's play ball. You can.
That's Howard. Howard.
You know, I really kind of want someone to pick that ball up and just throw it in his face. I'm so mean to Howard.
He's so sweet.
The ghost liked him and Gabe.
Do what? You broke up on my end. Hey, Irene.
Oh, I said the ghost liked him and Gabe. Here's a shirt, and you're going to see it move right here on the end right here.
Oh, look at that.
See it? I
Yep.
think it moves one more time.
Yep, there it is. Yep, just moved.
And you can see a fan up there, but it would have kept swaying if it was because of the fan.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It wouldn't have just
Yep,
like-
that's the thing.
Like lifted and lifted
Yep.
again by itself.
Mhm.
It's crazy. And there's another video if I can get it real quick. Pull up. Barfanuger. Carlos sleeping.
Hey, I got 4 more days, Troy. 4 more days I'm out of Facebook jail. And it'll be my 30 days will be up.
And if you look down here at the bottom, you'll see like a movement of the covers and then his foot moves. And the same thing happened to the other person in the other bed also.
Ooh,
Like before that, you could see
yeah,
the cover move
Mhm.
right here. Yeah.
I
there's
see that.
Those right at the Myrtles Plantation. That makes me really want to go there. And we have other videos. We might show them next Sunday. The rest of the videos, just so everyone can see them. Someone was touching his feet, he said. But I hate to
Yep.
have to go, you guys. But I think there's another show after us.
Yeah.
So thank you all for watching. Hey,
We'll see
boo.
y'all next week.
And we will. And hopefully prayers for
Jackie.
Jackie. I hope that she gets
Yes.
better. She's at the emergency room. I'm sure Howard will keep us all updated. And prayers for Jackie. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Hey, Adam. Troy. Bye. Good night, everyone.